Recording in progress.
We are going to do a session with AWS databases. Okay, so database is something very much important when it comes to software development, system development. So I think it's something very much important and very much useful to know how the databases behave in AWS. I think all of you know about databases. If you are not a maybe very, very fresh student to university. Other than that, I know most of you, if you have completed your first year, second year, or third year, definitely you have done at least few internal projects using databases, either MySQL or some other databases, Postgres or something. So you know what is database and how databases are behave, typical database structure and usage, even simple SQL commands, how to create a database, create tables, how to insert data, update, delete, typical, standard operations. I hope you are aware of it. Okay. So I'm not going to cover anything related to databases. Like what is database and how to create those tables. I'm not going to cover those things. I will give you an idea how AWS databases, what are the database types and how those databases can be used in with your uh, systems. I will go to a simple demo again this time also to use a Postgres DB in a Python application. That's what I'm planning to do today. So mostly I want you to try out all these things. Uh, Probably let's assume that after you complete your exam season, so you may need to try all these things, and at the end of the sessions, we have planned like more than 10 sessions. So after we have all these sessions completed, then you can go for a complete end-to-end development with all these services, and we are planning to go for a hackathon as well. Okay. So that's what we are planning to do. So just to do something, important work based on the sessions we can deliver. Okay. So let's start first. I will, as usual, I will go through a few slides just to give you an idea about what is AWS database and what type of databases are there in AWS. Because I know you all know traditional RDS part, but when it comes to databases, there are a lot more databases where people use for different work. Okay, let's talk about those things now. Okay, so this is what I'm going to cover up today. So in introduction to database and database, AWS database and features, use cases, and a demo. If you have any questions, you can take a Q&A session at the end of the session as well. Fine. Okay. Before we move into the AWS databases, okay, so I will give you typical environment how we are going to manage a database in our system. Okay. Just forget about anything that you are doing in your local laptops, local environment. Okay. Like say even for that also, what you usually do if you want to do go for a system implementations using a database. Let's for instance, we'll take PostgreSDB, a common type of database now in industry one. Even a large scale systems, they are going for a Postgres because it's, one main important aspect is cheap. So it's open source, everybody can use it, but there are certain other things to consider, but mostly it's very cheap or we can say it's open source, no license fee, anything involved with Postgres. Even MySQL, you can go for that. But if you are going to use Oracle or something, you have to get license. So, huge cost is involved with that. And there are other databases. Even in AWS, we have something, but other than that, CouchDB. There are a lot more DBs where it's part of a license, and then you have to pay something and get a license, and then you can integrate with your system. Okay? So that's how the database. I mean, how they start selling their products. But assume that you are going to develop a system, no matter open source or proprietary product. So you are going to develop a system like some up to let's assume that it's a kind of a complex system. So you have your application, you have front end, you have uh, server data, middleware where your application is hosted, and you have a database. Let's assume three-tier architecture. Okay. Front end, back end, and your database. So when it comes to your database, you have to keep your dedicated servers. In that dedicated servers, you have to install your database, and you have to maintain all these servers to run your database. Okay, so usually it happens because that's how we have to run a system. For each time when you work on a database, there should be a separate, dedicated person involved with that, called DBAs, database administrators. They have to work in the database for any database activity. Usually, it's a restricted environment for everybody. So only DBAs are allowed to work on a database, and any other operations, any critical activities, they are only supposed to do. Okay, so it's the whole maintenance should be carried out uh, by us or the implementation team. Okay, so let's think about other side, the AWS or cloud services, whatever they are providing. No, not only AWS, even for Azure or Google, GCP, they all provide similar features. Only the vendor will going to change, but what they provide, so they are going to provide database as a fully managed service. Even last week I have mentioned fully managed means it's all managed by vendor. In this case, AWS. They will manage, they will take care of the servers, they will do the installations, they will do upgrades in case if any patching required. Okay, so that they will take care of any vulnerability related, like so any threat, or there are certain things related to vulnerabilities where we want to keep our application or the database with the latest versions with certain add-ons. So that all will be covered by the vendor, AWS. So that's why we said it's fully managed. Okay, so simple word. We don't want to manage servers. It's completely out of our scope. Scalability next. So if your data is growing day by day, if it's growing, so if your storage may be not um, enough to cater all your data. So in such status, you don't want to purchase another storages. You just want to request to your vendor, I want to uplift my storage to this level. If you have 1 terabyte, I want to go into 2 terabyte. It's just a request only. They will do the work. Okay. So there is no additional, purchasing or the procurement kind of a work associated with this. Okay. But you have to pay for that. But it's just a request only, or even if you set up auto scaling kind of a things, that will do by the system automatically. Okay. High availability and disaster recovery, because mainly availability is there. Mostly databases are like in last week we discussed about 11 nines for the storage itself. Similarly, in AWS databases, they are almost available all the time. It's very rare situation we can see databases are getting failed because they have internal replication uh, con- uh, I mean, concepts to replicate data, hardware is getting replicated in multiple availabilities. It's all happened through that. Sorry, can you go on mute if anybody is not in mute? And secure and compliant, it's something always there because all our databases are secured. And finally, it's pay as you go means whatever you want, you can go. You only need to pay for the services or the storage or whatever that you are going to use. That's there in AWS. These are the main features associated with the AWS databases. Okay, I'm moving to the next slide. It's for the type of databases. Okay, so I'm going in a different approach here because in databases you have different types of databases, but you may use mostly relational databases all the time. Okay? So mostly you are using relational databases, or maybe now NoSQL databases also they are like MongoDB kind of a databases that is also there. Maybe you are using, if not mostly I know, so your systems are based on RDS. I mean relational databases. Okay, so your database types are differ one to another with the current modern systems. Okay, still relational databases are still there because this is always required based on the type of the system that you are going to work on. Okay, so you all know how the relational data is working, how the structures are there, how the relationships are getting built. Like you have data or the records, tables, databases, that concepts are there, and your relationships one to one, one to many, many to many relationships, and you are getting uh, like create all these composite keys and even indexes. All these concepts comes with your relational databases. It's all there in relational databases. Okay. This is one of the important database type you have. Okay. Mostly we are using that now, but now we are moving towards to NoSQL because that gives a lot of benefits to us with the modern world system. But still, any transactional based systems, like for example, let's say banking system or student maintenance, stock management, any kind of transactional based systems, it's still required RDS, relational databases. Okay. So NoSQL, it's kind of a emerging database concepts. There are a lot of NoSQL database in the market now, and with the systems that we are going to develop. For example, let's assume you have an application. Let's take Facebook. Okay. So you have Facebook, and how Facebook work. Like for example, you put something, upload something, or maybe you post something. People start going through your post. They may put comments. They may, like they may put likes, whatever. There are a lot of followers. So all these transactions, I can't say it's a transaction, but all these interactions with your post should be captured and stored in somewhere. You can't typically go into a relational database in such applications. Okay. Those things are comments. Once you put a comment, somebody can come and reply to your comment. Okay. Once somebody come and reply, then on top of it, some other person can reply. Or they can put a new comment. Okay. It's a kind of a tree structure you have. So it's very difficult to manage through a relational database. So we have different databases came into the market to handle these kind of things. Okay, so that covers through the NoSQL databases. It's mostly whatever I explain. It goes through a graph databases. Okay, and data warehousing, that is comes with analytics and BI. Business intelligence. Okay, so these are like mostly comes with AI features. Okay, analytics comes with some AI capabilities, and uh, data warehousing means like we keep all our historical data, like space point. I mean, point when it comes to spaces or storage capacity, those are huge capacities, but use it for a different purpose. So then data warehousing is another type of database. We have different database available for that. And specialized databases, time series or ledger, these are different, rarely using in I mean general application, but there are different type of database in the market for specific functionalities. Okay. So based on the type of the application you are going to build, you can choose databases now. There are a lot of types in the market. Okay, so you need to understand these things when you move into your system development. It's again based on the type of application you are going to develop. You can choose different type of database. This kind of a luxury was not there all days. Whatever we do, because the systems are mostly stick to a certain types, mostly transactional or relational databases that we use. Okay. So after some time, NoSQL kind of a database came into the market, but it was not hugely used. But now it's hugely used in the market for different uh, uh, applications. Okay. Okay, like if I go to the relational database in AWS, we have two main types of relational database: Amazon RDS, Amazon Aurora. Okay. If I take- Usually, uh, in Aurora or RDS databases, we have two main categories. This is these are commonly used databases. So database comes with two different flavors for RDS. RDS, I mean relational databases, two flavors, Aurora and RDS. Okay. Aurora comes with two flavors. Mostly it's SQL compatible and Postgres compatible types. And even for RDS, we have different databases: MySQL, Postgres, MariaDB, Oracle, MySQL. These are again based on the systems that you are going to develop. So you can choose different types. But commonly, we go for MySQL, Postgres. In even for your university uh, projects, you can go for these kind of database because it's very common. But Oracle is something proprietary. We may have to go for a license kind of a thing. Even Microsoft SQL Server, it's go with Windows based systems. And IBM DB2 again, it's a different type of systems with AS400 and all those kind of things. Okay. So these are the two main types of relational databases we have in the market. Okay. Uh, Amazon RDS and Amazon Aurora. So commonly you use cases: ERP, CRM, e-commerce application, any finance related. eh, Very simple. Anything transactional base. If we are going to create certain record level things where we have structured data, that goes with RDS. That's how these are categorized. Okay. NoSQL databases, we have different types. Okay. So in AWS, we have different NoSQL databases provided by them. DynamoDB is one of the common used database in AWS. And even DocumentDB is like MongoDB. Okay. So they are commonly used. Neptune is a graph DB type where we can use the application like Facebook, WhatsApp. So if you are going to develop systems like that, then your graph DB is very much important because that comes with certain tree structure where your data are getting interrelated or linked with the entries. It's create object, but it's again interrelated based on the interaction you do. Okay. It do not have structure. If you go into RDS, you know it has a clear DB structure. When you create your table, you will give a structure like create table with these columns with these sizes. You simply specify things while you create your table itself. But when it comes to these kind of NoSQL databases, you don't create that kind of a structure. You can put any kind of data with any length, but we have a limits. We maintain that kind of thing, but it's not unlimited. But again, you don't have a structure kind of a thing. You can give anything into your object, and that objects are getting interrelated based on the interaction. Okay, that's how NoSQL works. So a lot of DBs are there. This elastic cache is another emerging database concept with in-memory data. So there are systems where it requires rapid or high speed during during the application run. So we don't want to keep data in a database like external storage. We keep all our data in memory while while application is running. Data is there in memory. If you don't have any data in memory, then your transaction will get some time to fetch data from a table and get it stored in a memory again. So then once it available in the memory, all your transaction, all your interactions with that data will happen through memory, in memory, and things will get right into a database after that. Yes, that way huge memory is allocated for your work. Mostly, billing system and telecom billing system, for example, let's say you Dialog, Mobitel. So they have a billing system. So when you get a call or when you start using internet or the data, so all your data get recorded in the system. Each time when you make a call, that entry will go there, and it will soon after complete your data call, it will like process and kept in somewhere for the month end billing purpose. Okay? So that way that processing part happen in memory itself. It won't go and make database calls and get data, because there are huge customer base, like millions of customers making calls at the same time. It need to be processed quick, fast as possible. So that way, so there are systems developed that use in-memory databases. That way, there are different aspects we consider during the database creation and database use. Okay? Warehousing and analytics, it's again a Redshift is a database type we have in AWS for all this AI specific work, specifically analytics, BI, and reporting. Okay, so this is something you can use if you start working in AI related things. Okay. Finally, I want to let you know about how we need to go for a data. How to choose a database during your system development. That's something important, because out of all these types, your database need to be, uh, I mean, mostly compatible with your work. Compatible means it should suit for your work. So since we have multiple type of databases available in AWS, you have to choose the best type of database for your work. Okay? So if you use any transactional specific work, like you have transactions, you have to record these transactions, you have to make some process, and then you have to generate some output, then that kind of situation, you have to go for a RDS or Aurora. Okay, that's the typical way. Any online transaction processing system, OLTP, online transaction processing. Okay, any transaction processing systems should go with RDS or Aurora. That comes with relational databases. Okay, that way you can go. Okay, so I have given you a like flow chart for that. Okay, how we can go through this flow and select your database according to your requirement. Okay, so it's uh, depends on the type, because this is again this side, this left side is mainly for RDS. If your data is relational work or the transactional base, you have to go to Aurora or RDS. Under that, you have different types. Okay, you can select one type of database based on these things. Okay, if your data is graph data, if your data is graph data, then you have to go to a database type called Neptune in AWS. We have different types of other graph databases in the market, but if you select AWS service, then you have to go to Neptune. Okay. If your data is time series, then you can go to time series type. If your data is structured or relational, then you are again here it's mentioned you have to go to Aurora or RDS. Okay. Then likewise, this flow goes different directions based on the type of data that you are going to use. It goes to a different types of database, even storage, and this explain you how to select your database. I don't think you need to go for this kind of level at this moment, but in your future, you have to select your database properly during your application development. So it's something uh, that you need to get with your experience. You have to go, because when you start do solution in part as solution architect or someone, so then you have to select these things that require some time. You may need to work in the industry for 5-10 years, then you can go into that level. But then you have to have understanding. Otherwise, initially as a fresh graduate, you may not want to go into this level. You whatever the software selected, you have to build things on top of it. That's how you have to work in initially start your work. But later on, you have to have clear understanding about all of these things. Fine. Okay. So now I will move into my demo, uh, just to explain you about our example. Okay, so I think you got some understanding about our databases. Okay, now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use uh, uh, RDS database, Postgres instance, and I'm going to create a small application with using Python just to insert data and read data from the database. That's my intention, because I don't want to go for complex work or anything. I just want to give you idea how to get your service and associate with a program. Okay, so then you can do whatever you know better than us, because you do a lot of development and everything in your projects now. So you can go and do anything you want. Okay, let me initially what we have now. So I have a instance, the same instance that I have used last week. Okay, so then I label it as demo app. I have make it into a running state now. The server is running, and I have instance create inside this. Stop. Let me reconnect. Databases are like wait. Um, First, I'll oh, not able to connect to my instance now. Okay, I'll keep it for the I'll let you know about few more things about the yeah. Uh, Usually, what you need to create your database first. Okay?
Recording
So you can
stopped.
select whatever you want. Uh, you can create your database with your details, whatever the versions that you want, and you can simply go for. Usually, when you do any, uh, test work, you can go for the test or the dev test environment rather than go into a production. Okay, and select whatever the type you want. Okay, because you don't want to pay a lot for this kind of work, because if you go for a multi AC environment, you will charge lot for these things. Okay, so you don't want to pay even for a single instance uh, databases. If you create a database and keep it open, so it will start billing for that. Okay. Usually it will happen because even for last 1 week, see my billing, I have already charged $2.81 for last 5 6 days. Okay. If you go further, you can see like see the September now it charged for the relational database service $2.1 because I have created my DB as a test DB for this work, so it will charge. Yes, when you create your account, you know your credit card details should be uh, provided here. At the end of the month they will deduct this amount. That will happen because not like instances. Instances it won't charge that way. They have some time period uh, for the initial period, but later on only they will charge, but it's very less amount, few cents of dollars. But here it will charge lot. Okay. Uh,
Recording in progress.
okay. Now, so this way you can create your database. So I'm going to create a Postgres database. I have already created one for my sample, but I will show you how to create. So you can give your database name, okay, here, and your master username. So you all know when you create a database, you have to keep a data username. So typically, you can create database. Usually by default, Postgres come with the Postgres username. So you can keep that. And if you want to keep a password, uh, so you can go for the password. So you can do put self-managed, then you can create your own password. And encryption key is pretty much required at this moment. This is what by default they will provide. Okay. So, and so just keep all these things as default, and then you can create your database at the end. Okay. So I'm not going to create another instance here. I don't want to have another database. Okay. So I have one in this moment. So I'll go into that. Okay. So I have one DB created here. I named it as demo app DB. And usually any DB comes with the endpoint where we need to use this for our connectivity. So if you want to connect into a database, you can use this endpoint. And there are some other features. One thing I have to highlight here, making a connectivity to a database from a external source through, public internet is not, it's not very simple because databases are very secured. So usually databases are secured. You can't simply connect and do your transactions. Okay. In AWS itself, it has the mechanism to create. We go know. I think you have got some understanding about VPCs, virtual private uh, cloud, and all these things. So when you create your database, if somebody want to connect to a database, then the connecting host should be comes from the same VPC. Because of that, there is a mechanism to create connectivity. If you want to connect it from public internet, like what we are going to do now, because even when I run this program, even you can connect to database and insert data because it's connect to the public internet. Then in such a case, if your database need to keep more securely, the connectivity that you are making to the system should happen through a intermediate server. We call it as Bastion host. Okay? So you need to connect to the Bastion host. From there only, the application is able to make the connectivity. That way, you can create a secure connection from through the internet, from public internet. That's how it should happen. But in my case, I haven't do that kind of work because I haven't had much time to work on that. But I have come up with a simple application where the application, the database, it's a publicly accessible. So I have done that for my easiness only. But when you create your databases in your systems, make it more secure. You have to go to secure channels and your database, and you create another Bastion host in the same VPC, and you can make the connectivity among DB and Bastion host, and the public access need to be happen through the Bastion host. Okay, that way you can make your configuration. Okay, and monitoring is already there by default. Databases are getting enabled with some uh, uh, typical uh, KPIs. You can see all these basic monitoring happen here through CloudWatch. Uh, it is visible. Okay, you don't want to enable things explicitly. Okay, that will happen through this. Happen through the default things. But if you want go for a extra monitoring, that you can work later. But by default, when you start creating your DB instance, that will start monitoring through CloudWatch. That is, you can see here how the DB has, current CPU utilization, all these things, DB load and everything. You can take it from this monitoring. Okay. Logs that need to be enabled. I don't think I haven't enabled any logs here. Oh no, it's enabled. So you can take all these logs and everything here. And configuration. This is where the database, or I mean, it gives you the configuration details, what we have and everything. Okay, that way you can get the database created, and once you create this database, you should able to connect to this endpoint and uh, create your database. If you want to, I mean, basic like how you create databases. Okay. In typical SQL or Postgres, when you want to connect, will happen through a default way. That's how you have to create. Connect the instance. Usually it will happen when we have a network distance. Let's see whether I'm able to connect or not. Before this session start, I was able to connect, and I just tested this application. It was able to connect, but now I'm not able to connect to the instance. Oh, good. Okay. I'm able to get my previous commands as well. I will show you how to create a database and things as well. So let's say I'm going to, I usually, you all may know about how to connect. Okay, so Postgres, we need to use PSQL command. If you don't know, you can Google and get all these commands. I don't want to spend time here. This is Postgres again. Now it's not AWS, typical Postgres now. You can connect, and you have to put your host details here, -h, then the host details, and the port. If you want to connect, usually default port 5432 is the Postgres default port, and your username. Postgres will create with your default, I mean, username, because when we create Postgres instance, I have put Postgres as the default user. Okay. So now password I have given to this is Postgres. Okay. So I have connected to my database now. Database instance, sorry. It's not database, it's database instance. Okay. So when you want, if you want to create a database, so you can use default command called create and your database name. Let's use testdb. Sorry. So now it created a database called test database. Okay. So if I want to connect to the database, and was got stuck again, maybe a connectivity issue. Yeah, got stuck again. 1 minute, please. Mhm. Hope you all are in touch with me. I'm not getting any feedback or anything from you. I'm just going through the session. Hope you are following me and listening to what we are discussing here. Some connectivity issue is happening in my instance because even my instance connection was got lost. Fine. Again. Okay. So now I connected to a test database. Okay. So now I'm inside the database. Okay. Let's assume I want to create a table here. So then your typical is a create command. Yes, I will copy one section there rather than typing everything. Okay. I'm going to create a table called user here with ID, name, and email. If I create a table, I can create a table like this, create table. So it's got a table code. That way you can use your, you can create your database and then you can create your table with your own structure. Okay, fine. Now I will connect to my database. Okay, this is my database that I'm going to use in my instance. Okay. Let me keep that and I will connect to another instance again. Okay, I have a simple application. So that comes with whatever I have showed you now. So this is a Python application. I have created a few variables with the host name, which I have showed you here. Okay. Uh, yes, here. Okay. So this is my endpoint. So I have created my uh, host like this, and the database name is demo app, which I have connected now. This is my database. Okay, and demo app and the username Postgres and the password Postgres. Okay, so but this is not a good way to do programming. Okay, so usually we don't keep username password in a code, but the interest of time, I have just created in this way. But you can when you go into AWS, you have a lot of way to secure your passwords. There are secret manager available to keep your username passwords over there, and you can fetch those details during the program execution from those wallets. Okay, that you can do. But in this exercise is not going to tell you about all these things. It's a simple application. So this particular section is making a connection to the database. Okay. Uh, we are going to use make the connection through here. Okay. And the application is just going through a simple UI. Okay. I have created the HTML page. I haven't showed you. There is a template folder like last week. Inside that, I have just created another index file, index1.html, that contain a simple UI to input username, password, and something. Okay. And once you insert and click add button, so it will simply get all these variables from the form and stored in a variable, and then insert into a table and do a commit, and then close the connection. That's a simple work, and after that it will get displayed in the UI. Okay. So once it click there, so then the list it will automatically trigger the list student application list student from here, and then it will display the username. That's the uh, uh, functionality we have in this program. It's very simple program, but we have already created our database here. That database is going to use in this application. That's where we are using this code to connect to that database. More important part is how your data, parameters are going to pass. Okay. So you have to pass your instance endpoint details and your DB name, whatever the DB you have created, and then username, password. These are the important parameters you have to keep it for the connectivity. Okay. Then, okay, I'm executed my Python application. And if anybody interested, you even can connect to this host with a port 500, and then you can insert data. Okay. I'm not able to show this to my this laptop because this is my office laptop where we have a restriction to access such public IPs through this laptop. So I can't go to the internet and get this access. Not sure whether you have given me the access to another. There is one another user added with Vajira 2. Can you grant me the sharing access to that machine? Can anybody grant me that access? Vajira 2. Who can provide that access? Hello. Can somebody grant me access to share my screen to Vajira 2 user? So I have connected to this session to through two laptops, Vajira and Vajira 2. I'm currently sharing my screen through Vajira. Okay, fine. Let me share my screen from here. No, it's showing Vajira is disabled because I want sharing access to Vajira 2, not to Vajira. Vajira and Vajira 2 are there. There are two users. කාටරි පුළුවන් දෙක දෙන්න වජිර 2 එකට. ඒකට තාම disable කියලා පෙන්නනවා. Can somebody give me
Sir, you have to change the host to other account. Then you can share the
other
screen.
account means?
Vajira 2. So the Vajira 1 have the host.
Yeah.
Then
How do I do that?
Go to participants and select
Uh,
Vajira 2. Then
as host.
yeah,
Okay. Make host. Change host. Okay.
yes,
Done. Fine. Got it.
yeah. Done.
Thank you. Thank you. And I share my screen from here. Hope you can see my screen now. Okay. Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah. So now here, once you execute this application, you can see the enter student details, and I will enter some details here. Duplicate key violation. Okay. Email address it's getting. Okay. Maybe it's by mistake. Okay. So what I did was I just entered one is record now. Even you can run this application from your side. So I can give you the host here. I just ping you if anybody wants to run these applications, because I'm already executed this in this public IP. So then you can go to the application and enter your data. Okay. Can somebody try that from your end as well? So it's just a simple application, but you can see the end-to-end flow is working now. So I have database created in AWS using RDS, and that the database has been connected to my Python application. And once I run that, I'm able to enter data to that. Yeah. Even Virtusa has enter one record. Yeah. That way you can enter the data here. Okay. This is what you can do here. That way the end-to-end flow can be executed. Okay. One thing I have already mentioned. So in the connectivity point of view, I have used the simplest way to connect to the database. Okay. In my example, I have selected the simplest way. It don't have much security available, but in your implementation, you can go with the proper flow with the connectivity. There, if you want to keep your password in a secret manager, from there you can take it. That all the implementation you can integrate with your test application where you are going to do. But in here, we don't have that much things, but end-to-end flow is working here. How it work and how to connect and all these things I have demonstrated. Okay. And one more thing, as I mentioned, databases are like charging money for that. So if you want to keep the database open, okay. So usually, if you want to keep this database with something, at least you can do one thing. You can temporarily stop this database if you are not using. Okay. So you can see, as I showed you, for last 1 week, I forgot to temporarily stop this table. So from the day that I had last session, from there till now, I forgot to temporarily stop. For that, it charged for the last 6 days. Today is 6th September. For last 6 days, it charged $2.8. Okay. Something you don't want to afford here, because uh, uh, since you are not going to spend a lot of money for these things, so you can, if you want to keep a database open, what you can do, you do all your work. At the end of your activities, you can keep that database temporarily stop. Okay. So it will case, you have to simply acknowledge here, because you are stopping this database purely for the sake of keeping your billing low. So you have to accept that, and you can temporarily stop your database. So then it's something uh, uh, AWS will accept and keep your database for 1 week. After 1 week, it will automatically start, and it will start charging again. Okay. If you don't want to keep it, you can simply delete your database. Okay. That way you can do something. Okay. So if you want, you can simply go ahead and delete. That's something just keep in mind, not like instance or S3 or anything. Databases, it will charge fairly high rates from you if you don't handle your database properly. Okay, fine. That's all from my side for today. Any questions? If you have any questions, we can go to the questions. Okay.
So, what's the
Yeah.
difference between RDB and Aurora?
Uh, it's not, when it comes to our Aurora. Okay. So usually RDS, 1 minute. Let me get the clear answer for that, for your answer question. 1 minute, please. Okay. The clear answer here is, now when it comes to RDS comes with, let me share screen again. 1 minute. I want to change my participant material to host. Make host change. Okay. Yeah, I'm host again. So okay. Yes or no?
Sorry, sir, we didn't hear that.
So when it comes to Aurora, Aurora is a native product. Hope I can hear now again. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so everybody who asked this question, now what I'm going to say here. So whatever the see here, those are like different DB products. Aurora is a AWS itself. We call it as AWS native service. It's a native service available in AWS, but it can make a database either it's SQL compatible or Postgres compatible. So, but actually it use Aurora service. Okay. So when it comes to different DBs in RDS and Aurora, RDS is purely we are going into a relevant database product to use our DB services. But when it comes to Aurora, Aurora is a service where it provides either MySQL or Postgres services via Aurora. Hope you clear that. From Aurora even we can get same capabilities. But one thing you need to keep in mind, Aurora itself has certain capabilities where it comes with these two DBs in that if you start using Aurora. Okay. So that's where the difference comes in these two types. Usually Aurora has much more good capabilities than typical RDS. That comes with MySQL and Postgres databases with Aurora. Hope it's clear for you. Any other questions? Did I? Okay. You got Sunny, you got the answer, na? It will give additional capabilities within the Aurora service that comes with these two DBs if you go for Aurora DB. That's the answer. That's the difference actually. Otherwise, same database services here. Okay. Any other questions? One thing keep in mind, Aurora is having these two capabilities only, MySQL and Postgres at this moment. But RDS, it has different set of databases available with RDS DBS type. Okay. If you don't have any other question, we can wind up for today. But I ask everybody to take some attention on these things once you complete your exams. Okay? Don't let this part go. I mean, you just participate and stay silent. Do something because your future will be in AWS. Okay? So your future will be definitely in AWS, not AWS cloud. Either it can be AWS, GCP, or Azure. You will go into those only. So the on-prem systems are getting migrate to cloud environments rapidly now in the market, I mean the world. Okay. So if you are in first year, in another 2 years' time, you will be coming to the job market. Whoever in final year, in next year, or after that, after you complete your internships and all these things, you will come again to the corporate world. So by that time, most of your systems are in cloud. I don't say 100%, but a lot of systems will be in cloud. And one more advice to everybody, get familiar with Gen AI. So AI things. Okay. So jobs, everything comes with AI only. Okay. It's rapidly changing in the market. Things are moving to AI direction, and 1 to 2 years time, things will be on AI only. That doesn't mean you don't have any other things other than AI. If you are a developer or if you are a builder, so your work will come from that direction only. You will have definitely work. Your coding skills and everything will be used there. I won't say that you will not write codes once AI comes in. You have to write codes, you have to verify codes, but very simply, you don't want to write everything from the scratch. The AI tools will generate your code, but review part, whether it's aligned with your requirements, that all need to verify by you. So for that, you have to know about things. So because of that, familiar with all these AI tools, you have co-pilots, you have Gemini, all these things. Familiar with these things, you integrate all these things with your IDs and try to come up use these things. Then when it comes to the market, it will easy to find things because you already familiar with the tools that we use in the corporate world. Okay. So that's just advice only. But be familiar, especially the people who are in final year, they will soon come into the job market. So familiar with those things. Fine. Thanks all then. We can wind up the session for today. And next week there will be another session. I don't know who will be, but next Saturday there will be another session planned by another person from our teams. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you,
good.
sir.
Thank you. Yeah, good.